I'm not going to go back to the history, but suffice to just recap our situation from the last time. As we had explained to you, we ran into a problem where we found that there was a very high salt content in the water that we were abstracting, which then was causing some discomfort to our communities, and we needed to deal with this. We had to make an urgent and immediate decision as to whether we continue pumping the salt water to at least enable our affected communities to use it for domestic purposes, including your sanitation and your washing and so on and so forth, or whether we completely switch off the pumps and give no water at all. After consultation with the various stakeholders and role players, it was decided at great risk to the municipal infrastructure that we continue to pump so our communities have water. On the issue of the drinkability, if there is such a word, of the water, we then decided that we will bring in water from our Mtamvuna plant situated in Port Edward and tanker this water to the various affected communities so that we can provide water for domestic purposes and we can provide water for drinking purposes. That we were able to do with a measured amount of success. We were not 100% and perfect, but we think we were able to get around that. We also at this point in time, and I must say on behalf of Mayor, thank all the organizations and community members who really rallied around and assisted with the distribution of water, the various groupings who came forward and assisted with distributing clean drinking water, which really helped us to get through our crisis. Like we explained to you on Monday, we were unable to open the mouth because of the levels of the sea and the wind that caused a serious sea storm. We were very successful, however, on Wednesday morning when the sea subsided a little to open up the mouth and thereby enable the flow of the water into the sea. This then drastically reduced the salt levels to acceptable levels, and we now have the last I saw was a conductivity level of 38. That was the last count, which means it's way, 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 way below what we're looking. They say anything below 100, we are fully compliant here. So we are maintaining that level. So what we can tell you is now that at our plant, the Boboi plant, which was the affected plant, we are abstracting water which is fully compliant below the salt levels or conductivity levels that we expect. So that was happening from about, I think it was Friday. Yeah, from about Friday we are pumping this water. But like I explained to you on Monday, although you would be able to do that, it will take a few days for the system to flush out. But to speed it up, we then had teams visiting the various areas, and we targeted supply lines for hospitals, clinics, schools, and we start flushing out the systems. And that's why you found, when you asked me, I said it probably could take 7 to 10 days. That's why you found by Sunday, in certain areas, in certain instances, the water was saltless, because we're flushing, and we still are doing that right now. I'm given to understand that there's issues in Ivongo and Gamalaka, which the teams are trying to do this, so we're trying to flush the system. So the opening of the mouth was successful, the conductivity levels have drastically reduced, and we are dealing with that. But also we identified that the mouth of the river had its own barriers and sandbanks, and therefore we have then, with our emergency provisions, appointed a contractor to start dredging the river mouth, which means taking out all the unwanted sand and silt. And when we take that out, we'll find there'll be a faster flow of the water into the sea. That contract started on Saturday morning, and we're expecting for the next 3 to 4 days that contract will take place and create what they call a deeper mouth, so the water flows faster. That was the second intervention. The third intervention was building a temporary berm, and they call this an earthen berm because it's built with all natural materials. There is no concrete, or it's all natural materials. That berm also started on Saturday. So they're looking at 3 to 4 days, that temporary berm will be there. Now what will that berm do? That berm will ensure that even for whatever reason, if the mouth closes, that the seawater doesn't push up past the abstraction point, because this berm then keeps the seawater back. So we'll continue to extract saltless water and fresh water. That's what that will do. As I said, I just came from a meeting and I presented to the leadership that we need to do some reprioritization and build a permanent berm. Now you understand, when you build a permanent berm, it involves concrete, it involves drilling, it involves piling. So we have to deal with a whole host of other EIA and so on, but the leadership have given me the authority to proceed with that. So those are the three interventions that we have made there, which have been very successful. The two excavators at the mouth will remain there for the next 7 days to ensure that we are able to deal with all this and we don't have those issues. But I think let me then seize this opportunity, given that we have an audience with the media, also the SABC, that we are concerned about certain mining operations on the river, especially upstream. The last count we counted, there were 14 mining activities. Whether they're legal or illegal, we are not sure about that. So yesterday we resolved to engage the Department of Mineral Affairs and bring them down and have a meeting with them and do a fly over the river to find out where is this happening, what is happening, and how is it impacting on the flows of the river. Because according to the expertise we have, we believe that is also what is affecting the flow. So we are going to be dealing with that very, very seriously shortly, because we believe it is affecting us. And then also, we are looking at instituting water restrictions for the entire district, which is your north, your Umzinto and surrounds, your south, which is your Potchefstroom and surrounds, and your southwest, which is your Harding. We may even go up to Port Edward because we don't know how long that flow will keep us. And colleagues, as you should know, you have people who do research for you. This is termed to be the El Nino effect, and we're only looking at this effects or consequences to be fading away sometimes next year, March. On the issue of water tankering, we tried to do the best we could. We ensured that the hospitals had water. In fact, this cost us a lot because we were basically providing the water free of charge. We were not charging. Alternately, you would have paid for the water. We trucked this water in. We worked 2 shifts. We had a day shift and a night shift. Day shift was the deliveries to the people. Night shift was the deliveries to the tanks and filling up the tanks. But we also had a lot of assistance, and we don't want to name people. Mayor will be issuing a formal statement thanking all these people. But we also had a lot of community support. And we're saying that when a community gets together, there's no crisis that can be big enough to overcome a community. When you stand together, you can be able to deal with this. We dealt with that. And I think we did apologize for the inconvenience that we have caused, but like we explained, it was something beyond our call. We've looked at this. We meet twice daily. We meet at 8 o'clock in the morning. We meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's called the incident management. It's called the incident management protocol. We have a rapid response team, and we were able to respond to these issues. And before you ask me the question, let me answer it for you, because I know you're going to ask it. What must you tell the people from Gauteng who have already booked their accommodation to come here? Tell them nothing. They are most welcome in the coast, and we will make sure we will do whatever it takes, because we are a seasonal town. And can you imagine, colleagues, if we don't have people come here in December, what an economic disaster it's going to be for our people? We can't afford that. So I've briefed the leadership and the staff yesterday. We had our own meeting, and we have decided we'll do whatever we have to do and whatever it takes to make sure that that holiday season happens. So somebody has asked me, what do we say to the holiday? Tell them nothing. All you can tell them, like always, they are most welcome to come to the coast. We will try and make sure that we are able to deal with any challenges that might arise, and we are ready. The issue of drought relief measures is not an issue for debate anymore. So I think you should sensitize all our communities within the district that drought relief measures are on its way, and by the end of this week, we will be issuing statements on the drought relief measures. Because if we want to have a good Christmas, we want to have make sure that we have good economic activity, there's some sacrifices we have to make. we have to make the sacrifices for the well-being and the better good of all our communities, not for only a few of us. And it's just for the month of December and half of January. And I think we all have to now make sacrifices.